and just even hear from you and your members about ways that we can be a resource to support Black business here in Illinois. So yeah, I work with the state, man. I've been with the state for 7 months now. My role is African American Business Development Manager. I'm a part of a team that is in an office called the Office of Minority Economic Empowerment. And our role inside of the agency is to support minorities, women, veterans, and individuals with disabilities. So in addition to being the Black business, focusing on Black business throughout the state, I also support veterans and individuals with disabilities. So that's who I am, man. I'm also a father. That's a big deal to me. I have a little girl, so I saw my brother with his baby in the camera. I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, especially as men interacting with our little girls. Man, I got a 12-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I enjoy being a father. That's part of my responsibilities and my honor as a man, and also to support business. It's a great responsibility and it's an honor too.
Thanks for the little background, Wadier. So we can make it more pretty much interactive section, or I'll do Q&A section after you present to our member, some of the invitees, what is the opportunity for African American or minority in the state of Illinois, you know, what you are doing as Illinois Department of Commerce. Basically, yeah. What is the benefit for them in terms of locally, when I mean locally within the state, and yep. What's the kind of benefit they can get from doing, you know, export, okay, that can create a job here in the US, okay?
Okay. So I don't know, do I have the option to share my screen?
Yeah, I believe so. So you have some, okay, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can just.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
There's just a few slides that
I think so. Go ahead and try it.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, yep. So what I'll do is, there's a number of slides here, but I can skip through and focus on the things I think would be most relevant to the conversation today.
Okay.
We all are dealing with the pandemic, COVID-19. It's a public health issue. And our community is faced with another disaster in the form of social inequity and racism. You know what I mean? So as we try to operate Black businesses, we're dealing with a number of challenges. And I just say that to acknowledge the truth in it and clarify that that's not that's a significant issue that I feel I'm working as a partner for Black business to overcome as I bring resources and information to the business community. So I'll start just talking about some of the things that maybe we've already seen as it relates to COVID-19, and then some more general business resources offered by the federal government and the state. So some of us have probably heard of the Small Business Administration's Economic Injury Disaster Loan. That's a big part of the stimulus package. A lot of money was pumped into some programs to support small businesses. One of them was the PPP. That's no longer available. But there is still money available in the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. I say that because people have questions or have had challenges connecting with that resource, but we're still here to help you tap in. There's a lot of money available to help businesses in the form of Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So this is a low interest loan that if you are approved for it, you don't need to make your first payment for 12 months. It comes from the federal government, the SBA. And so of course I work with the state, but we work very closely with the SBA to help people tap into this resource. So it's still a great way to get support for your business in response to COVID-19. still money available in the economic injury disaster loan. I don't know if any businesses are located in these counties here: Cook, DuPage, Kane, Lake, McHenry, and Will. But as a result of George Floyd's killing, there was some uprising and demonstrating and some civil unrest, and there were businesses impacted by that. So in addition to the economic injury disaster loan, these counties have received a disaster declaration related to the civil unrest and the uprising. So just another piece of information: if you know of businesses that have been impacted or yours was impacted, this is also another resource that you can tap into if you've been affected by the civil unrest that came as a result of the killing of George Floyd. So another piece of information I want to share. And I'm happy to share these slides after the presentation too. So these are some state level resources. I won't be talking about childcare restoration or distressed communities, but I will be speaking on the rest of these programs just to give you info about what's available. I believe that the Nigerian Chamber is Chicago based, am I right?
That's correct.
Okay, so this particular program wouldn't apply to the businesses in the Chicagoland area, but just for informational purposes, the state of Illinois stood up a grant called the Downstate Small Business Stabilization Fund. And this money comes from funds from the federal government that get distributed to cities across the state. It's called Community Development Block Grant dollars, CDBG dollars. And there are cities across the state of Illinois that are entitled to get this money because of, like Chicago and many other collar counties, because of the demographics related to housing issues, unemployment issues, economic challenges, education disparities. So because of those demographics, there are larger communities throughout the state that already get CDBG dollars. And City of Chicago does what they want to do to try to address those issues. They have CDBG funds already for homelessness, for repairing people's housing, small business support. You know, I live in Rockford. We do different things with the money. St. Clair County, which is East St. Louis, Central Illinois, Springfield. There's communities across the state that already get CDBG. So this particular fund isn't for those communities. It's for businesses that are in rural or downstate communities where they don't already get CDBG dollars. And so this for small businesses in those communities, they would need to partner with their local government to tap into a loan, a grant of up to $25,000. So this wouldn't be eligible for Chicago-based businesses, but I just want to at least share and discuss it. This is the Business Interruption Grant Program. Some of you may have heard of it. The first round of the grant has closed, but there will be subsequent rounds. We anticipate sometime next month, in the next couple of weeks, there will be the second round of the Business Interruption Grant Program, or the BIG program. Hopefully, you know, maybe some people on the line have received it, or you know of businesses that have received the BIG grant. And this was a grant program specifically for businesses that had their operations interrupted by the public health guidelines that were implemented to try to stop the spread of COVID-19. And the first round was specific to restaurants, barbershops and beauty salons, and fitness centers, because these businesses really had to shut their doors to stop, well, in an attempt to stop the spread of the pandemic. So there were a number of businesses that have been awarded. There's a list of those businesses on the state's website, and that first round is closed. There will be another round coming in the next couple of weeks with new specifications as to what type of businesses apply. And I will make sure I get, Ola, I will make sure I get you and your members this information about the next round of the BIG program, Business Interruption Grants. That's just another thing to keep in mind. It'll be coming soon. the Business Invest Illinois Small Business COVID-19 Relief Program. Whole bunch of words, but essentially, this is sort of the state's version of the disaster loan. So the Illinois treasurer, which is an elected official, that individual has access to funds he has made available to banks. So when you're thinking about support for your small business responding to COVID-19, another option is the state of Illinois treasurer's small business program. All you need to do is go to a bank that's participating, and there's a list of these banks on the treasurer's website, or you can work with your bank to let them know you're interested in the treasurer's small business loan program. And this is just another option for you to consider when you're trying to get some resources for your small business to respond to COVID-19. The Business Invest Small Business COVID-19 Relief Program. So we spoke on the SBA. We spoke on a big program, business interruption grant, COVID-19 from the treasurer. And now I just want to touch on a few more general things that the state and even some federal resources that are available just in general to support small businesses. First of all, some more SBA loan programs. Now, the SBA is a federal agency, Small Business Administration, and we work at the state very closely with the SBA to support businesses, trying to share information, making referrals, especially as it relates to these COVID programs. People have had a lot of questions, a lot of issues. My office does a lot to make sure questions get answered and people don't get left hanging. So that's another thing I'd like to share. If you have questions, if you tried to apply for a loan, you feel like it wasn't handled the right way, feel free to reach out to me. We work with the SBA closely. We can try to get you some answers on, if you need to reapply or reconsider, or how we can iron that out. But in addition to those COVID resources, there are some standalone loan programs that are really, a lot of times, really advantageous to small businesses to try to tap into. Essentially because and maybe you probably already know a lot of this stuff, but the Small Business Administration guarantees loans for small businesses, and it makes it more attractive for a bank to work with a SBA loan for a small business, because if anything goes bad, the federal government will make sure that money gets paid. So small businesses that sometimes are trying to grow their credit, may not have a lot of collateral. You need some more flexible terms. Sometimes they set up loans with longer payback periods. They take a smaller down payment. So these are things that the SBA does to try to make it easier for small businesses to access capital. Now, a lot of times you still need to do some of that underwriting as it relates to credit and things like that, but the terms are more flexible, and these programs do a lot to help small businesses access capital. So you can access these through your bank, typically. Banking relationships are crucial. When you go and speak with a banker, these are things you may want to reference. You want to ask them about if they do any SBA programs. You want to learn about those, because those programs are a little bit more advantageous for small businesses. Just something I want to share. The state of Illinois has a first stop hotline, business information center hotline. This number here, 1-800-252-2923. And right now, the state has opened up a lot, but with the COVID-19 numbers starting to go up and down in different regions of the state, people may have questions about what guidelines are being implemented to slow it down. I know Chicago is a lot different. Mayor Lightfoot does a little bit more to handle COVID, but that data causes for regions to make changes about what businesses can do in terms of opening up dining, closing. I know in some parts of the state right now, they have decided to close down some of those some of those freedoms are, not allow for people to stay open in their bars too long, creating more spaces where you have to wear masks, trying to slow down the spread. Well, the hotline is specifically to answer those type of questions. If you ever have questions about the new changes in the guidelines, if you feel like there's a business that's not taking things seriously enough, you want to share some information on that. Anything business related you have questions about, you can call this hotline and you can speak to a person or leave a voicemail, and they'll respond to that voicemail quickly to make sure your question gets answered. So this is the business hotline to help you get information on COVID or any other business related issues. So you asked a question about international trade, and this column on the right talks about the international trade centers. So this is a little bit different than our international trade office, but just so you know, there are international trade centers located throughout the state that provide free business development assistance and technical support to help companies understand, how to go about taking their product or service global. That is evaluating the profitability of it, documentation, making connections between local governments. That's the International Trade Center. And you can search your zip code and find a center near you. In addition, there's in the center column, you see the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And on the left column, you see the Small Business Development Center. All of these are free business development resources available to companies here in Illinois. They do a lot to, especially now with COVID-19, they do a lot of virtual support. So you don't have to go to the office or go to the center. You can set up appointments virtually and you can get free assistance. A big part of the stimulus that was passed provided these organizations with more funding so they can do more outreach and programming. So now is the time to look to these organizations and tap in, because they've been provided with more money to help us, to help businesses. So that's just something that will be helpful to know. Small business development centers, that is general, market analysis, financial strategies, business planning. In the middle, Procurement Technical Assistance Center, that is becoming a vendor with the government, getting certifications as a minority business, woman-owned business, veteran-owned business. In the right column is the ITC, International Trade Center, that is taking your product or service global. Now, and I'd be happy to talk further about the International Trade Office, which is a whole office that helps to make connections with local governments throughout the globe and arrange trips and visits, things like that, to help companies in that way. This program, the Advantage Illinois Participation Loan Program. So this is similar to the SBA, but it's a state-specific resource where the state of Illinois can work with your bank to help you access funds for some working capital, for equipment, for real estate, and the state's participation it lowers your interest rate, especially for minority-owned businesses. There are some terms that make it a little bit more advantageous. So again, you still need to work with your lending agent, your lending institution, or your bank. But when you talk to them, you can reference the Advantage Illinois program and let them know this is something you want to look into, because there are some terms that can help you get a lower interest rate as a minority business. Again, this is the Illinois Treasurer's Community Uplift Program. So this is low-cost loans to businesses in underserved communities, 1, 2, or 3 year terms. So there's more information I can share as well. Another program offered through the Treasurer's Office. This is so for larger development projects, they're depending on where you locate. you could tap into some incentives, tax incentives, to make the development less burdensome in terms of costs. So these are like back end benefits that there's no front end cash, but it's tax benefits on the back end. If you create jobs, if you're doing large scale developments, investing in machinery, these things can be helpful. And I'll share these slides with you, as I said. Some more grants to consider. I really want to have you focus on that third bullet point. It's not open yet, but last year my office did a minority business grant. It was called the OMI Capital Grant. Right now this is closed, but we anticipate later this year we will have another opportunity for small businesses to participate in a grant program through our office. So just want to make you guys aware of that. And as again, I'll share this slide so you can get these links. There's a lot of support around employers as well as job seekers as it relates to workforce development. So for the employers, sometimes there are programs that will allow you to do on-the-job training and bring on an employee, but only have to pay a portion of the wages. And the state will pay for another portion to allow for this person to get some training or work experience. These are programs that are available to small businesses just like yours. So just something that I want to share. Workforce is a big part of the support that we can provide for businesses in the state. Just a little bit more info. The state is purchasing PPE equipment. So there's an email address that you can use if you're interested in selling to the state. And nonprofits can tap into the Illinois COVID-19 Response Fund. There was $23 million stood up to provide resources to nonprofit organizations throughout the state that are supporting families impacted by COVID. Again, here's the that general business hotline as well as the email. And that's essentially what I got, man.
Thanks, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes. We're going to go to Q&A section.
Okay.
Let me go right quick on OMEE for business capital. That you said is going to open up pretty soon.
Well, the thing is, COVID-19 has caused a lot of things to change. So the last update we had was in the winter of 2020, we will be announcing another OMI business grant. Now, I don't work very closely to the budget process, and I know that a lot of things have been moved around to try to support businesses impacted by COVID. So I just say that our plan is to do another OMI grant later this year. I can't tell you exactly when right now.
Okay, this is a question from people about the director. She said, how many SBA loan? I know you are not for SBA, but you might, because you guys work together. How many SBA loan can a business apply for?
Well, you really, each of those loans are kind of specific. So it would depend on what kind of project you're trying to accomplish. I would say, you look at one SBA product at a time. Now you don't want to have too many SBA loans out at once. But I would say, like, considering what type of project you want to do, there's a SBA product that can best help you, and that's the one you want to go for. So I would say one at a time. Okay. Now this is separate from the economic injury disaster loan that they have, because there are some companies that already had an SBA loan, and then they were able to get that economic injury disaster loan. They kind of consider that a different thing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, you have a question about the workforce. You mentioned about what is the percentage state share with the employer to have to employ to have a new hire. What's the percentage they split amount they're doing?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. They pay half the wage, and they pay it for a set amount of time. So it'll maybe a 6-month period while they're, while you maybe are onboarding that person, training that person. So it's like while you're getting them in on the front end, they help you cover that cost. And then there's a point where if you like the person, you can keep them and bring them on yourself, or you can say, hey, it was a good experience and, you know, we can go our separate ways.
Okay, is there any particular business that to do that the workforce program with the state?
Is there a specific business that they would work with? No, it doesn't. No. But what it is that person that you want to hire would need to register into their system. So it's not as simple as you just pulling somebody and saying, hey, I want you to partner with me. That person would have to sign up for the workforce development program, and that's kind of where it gets slowed down a little bit. It may take like 2 or 3 weeks for them to get plugged in, but as long as they sign up and register for the workforce development programs, and you can pull them to your business.
Okay, I'm going to ask that question on behalf, I'm waiting for people to send in. You can text in your, on mute to ask Matt, you have any question pertaining the this department already on State of Illinois Commerce Department. So if anyone have a question, we'll go for that a little bit. With the state, with the participation loan program, okay?
Yep.
I remember when we have our first event last year with SBA director, okay, there's some tips to give most of our members. What is kind of the loan or kind of the business program, the state, okay, they're looking to do. Let me give you an example. There's some webinar I joined this today. I think, they have a particular, with the study, for example, not with the state, okay, they are looking for to be, a state in the program. So what is the state is looking for in terms of the benefit to a member for the minority program? So what kind of advice you can give, okay, that, if you want to start a new business, let's someone start a business now, what can you encourage a member to do that is benefit with WBE?
Okay.
MBE, okay, that is out there.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sorry. Let me just clarify that. WBE mean Women Business Enterprise, and MBE mean Minority Business Enterprise. So before you can do that, okay, everyone, you have to be satisfied to have that, okay, You can even transfer from one state to another state. You understand right now? So this is something that that's why we have chambers, because I know we lack a lot of information, and there's a lot of opportunity for minority right here that we don't know. But someone in your area that expertise, instead of us go to about 1,000 pages to do a research, someone that's inside that can bring you in to what can take us for months or weeks. It can take us for a few hours. Okay, that's why we need someone like you to encourage our member. This is where you can go to get information to assist you.
Yeah, I'll say there are a lot of opportunities, for minority businesses, and it really just depends on. I always just tell people to focus on your business. I would say don't I've heard of this concept of mission creep. Like when sometimes people creep away from their original mission trying to chase money. You know what I mean? And sometimes people go bad doing that. Whereas you started a business to provide a product or a service, but then you see a shiny object and you decide to creep away from that a little bit to chase some money. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that the most important thing we can do is operate a strong, independent Black business, whether that be a restaurant, whether that be a clothing store, whether that be a cleaning business, a grocery store. That's the most important thing we can do. And depending on what your business is, there may be opportunities to do business with the local government, state government, or federal government. It may be opportunities to do business with private corporations. But before you can do that, you have to be operating a strong, independent business, you know? So what I like to do is help people really focus on that plan that they have, figure out, are there opportunities to reduce costs? Are there new opportunities to get out in front of your customers? You know, are there opportunities to collaborate, to, you know, streamline services? These are things that'll help you be a stronger business. And then you can think about, maybe I can clean a government building and do some residential properties. Or maybe the food that I sell at my restaurant, I can do lunches for the local government offices or something like that. You know what I mean? I think, but first we just need to make sure our business is tight. And so that's primary for me. That's number one for me. There's a lot of resources out there. If people are interested, you know, thinking through, looking over their business plan, looking over ways that they can adjust and pivot. Because right now in COVID, we all got blindsided. I'm an entrepreneur as well. I do some work in the real estate space, and we all got blindsided. And what we had to do is pivot. We had to make adjustments. So we have resources in our small business development centers to help businesses think about the changes that they can make because of COVID. And so that's the first thing. Make sure we gotta make sure we're running a tight business. And then we can consider as a strategy trying to do business with the government. And that's when we can help you get certified as a minority or woman-owned business, veteran-owned business, individual with disabilities. That certification, it doesn't guarantee you any government money, but that credential helps you shine a little bit amongst the other people who can provide that service too. So the government has, the state government, I can speak to the state specific.
Now, many of you might have people.
So here I am. Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. So the state government has a goal to spend 20% of their expenditures with certified minority businesses, minorities, women, veterans. You know, they call that program BEP, the Business Enterprise Program. Somebody asks, how do you get certified? Essentially, you just need to be, there's a process you gotta have, you gotta show your paperwork, you know, your articles of organization. You gotta prove that you are indeed 51% minority owned, woman owned, veteran owned. And there's a process that you go through. So I can share a contact with you. She's a partner of mine. Her name is Irma Lopez. I can put that in the chat right now. She's a great resource. But she's the BEP outreach worker. She can help you get certified. But I think I'll just share that. I think that you exist as a business person to serve your customers, provide a service of quality. The better you do that, the more sustainable you're going to be. You know, that's what's going to save us, selling your product or your service. Consider as a strategy doing business with the government. You know, that's a part of the business mix maybe that you want to add to the things that you do already. It could be a good thing. It could be difficult. You know, sometimes the government doesn't pay fast. So that's some of the things that you want to consider, but you can add that to your business mix, doing business with the government. So that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, to second the question about, one of the questions that's how do you satisfy? Yes, the City of Chicago have the program with their business, BACP.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
So far with the BACP, they have a class, we can share the resources with you.
Yeah.
They have weekly session classes that can, do video right now. Okay. They have another program that can be satisfied. Believe me, one of me on the board, we took like a year and a half ago. from about 6 or 7 workshops, then they can automatically qualify for small loan from
Mm.
I forgot this bank name. Okay, so
Yep.
we'll share that resources with anyone that have interest in to be satisfied with that. It's just something as you say. I like the clarification you give idea. This is already you always say that in a workshop. It doesn't guarantee you, but it gives you opportunity. Okay,
Yep.
that things come up. Okay, and then if you see other folks, other risks, they use that. That's why you can see that you're working to small business or small company. You see a bunch of vocation, 90%, you only see one black people right here.
Yeah.
So that's just, so those are the things that we are here for you as Nigerian Global Chamber of Commerce to let you see that, you can do the same thing too, okay? It's like what he was talking about right now. You want to open a restaurant, for example. I'm going to ask you to man if state have the same program. I believe city have that staff program before too. Under South neighborhood, okay, you can have
Mm.
a grocery store, you can have a restaurant deal, okay. There's a grant that city or county can give you to match it. So
Yeah.
these are those kind of resources that you can look into it. You don't have to serve. That's why I say most of the Chinese in our neighborhood, okay, so you just see them, they are, they're driving about an hour, 2 hours away from the city. No,
Yeah.
they tap into that program, the grant. Some of them, they don't use their money. So you see, it's only one Chinese you see in a black neighborhood, okay?
Mm.
So you have to, these are the things that, we are trying to give to our neighborhood too. There's nothing wrong that you don't have, you can have Nigerian restaurant in the west side, in Ronda neighborhood, okay? There's a grant for you to do that, okay? You don't have to have a sitting down restaurant. It's a carry out. So, if Matt, you have that thing that, we can share with a member to look into it, or even to have a grocery store that they are not selling. You see the Arabs, you see the Jew, they have all those stores over there. Do you think most of their money they use? Yeah, they start with their money, but as a grant they have with the city, county, and state. Okay, so they look at demography in that area. They say, oh, they don't have store right here. Let's go and have open grocery store right here. Okay, so it's something that if for Matt have the information that I can provide to our members,